Q4 of 2025 is set up to be a magnificent big bull rally, but it makes no difference if there's a big, huge run up if you get taken for every single amount of crypto and digital assets that you've been accumulating, dollar cost averaging, because somebody rips you off. And what I am talking about is a story that is gaining more and more traction, and we're seeing it more and more every day. And those things are kidnappings or wrench attacks. Wrench attacks is where there's actually a physical altercation where somebody beats on you and then steals your crypto, and in a plethora of different ways they do it. Now, we've been covering this for quite some time. This was earlier in the year. The Ledger founder was kidnapped. He actually had one of his fingers severed off, sent to the other co-founders and said, give us this much crypto or we're going to send you more pieces. And they did it, but these guys got caught, which is great. And people would say, well, that's just the Ledger founder. He has a ton of crypto. I'm only sitting on X amount, so not a big deal. Well, that's totally inaccurate. This was from Alina Vernova, and this was something that was put out at the Bitcoin conference. She's the founder of Satoshi Labs. She warned of an increase in wrench attacks, physical assaults, and abductions for crypto holders. She states every week there is a Bitcoiner, and it's not just Bitcoin, it's digital assets, all, at least one in the world, who gets kidnapped, tortured, extorted, and sometimes even worse, killed. What seems to be a problem only for Bitcoin OGs is not really the case. We've seen kidnappings out for as little as $6,000, and we've seen people murdered for $50,000 in crypto or less. The rise in wrench attacks against crypto holders is a disturbing trend, and we're going to be doubling the worst year on record for the amount of attacks that are happening in 2025. And the reason for this is things like the Coinbase leak and other centralized exchange leaks, where they have leaked your personal information. It allows for violent criminals to target crypto holders and their families. And she states we currently have more than 80 million Bitcoiner and crypto user identities leaked online. That's a lot. And 2.2 million out of those contain home addresses. These attacks are correlated with Bitcoin prices, and the frequency of attacks rises during bull markets. And you can see it right here. As the price goes up, so do the attacks. So it's not just these attacks that are being carried out. It's not just random people. There is somebody behind it. There is somebody that is perusing the dark web, getting that information, hiring muscle, having them wrench attack you, kidnap you, cut off appendages, and them getting the funds, and the whole thing repeats again. If you don't believe me, just listen to this. So this was a story that just broke about 3 days ago, matter of fact, 2 or 3 days ago, and no one talks about it. I don't understand. Everybody wants to talk about, this prediction or where this is going, or there's a big, huge run up on this new altcoin. That's irrelevant, again, if you lose everything. So listen to this story, and it's going to tell you that there is somebody behind this that is very effective. And oh yeah, if this happens, even if they catch the people, you are not going to be able to get your crypto back. And I'll explain why in a second. Listen to this.
We're talking about the story, of course, where the two Texas brothers drove about 18 hours to target and rob a family of cryptocurrency. Neither one knew each other. So, the father suspects that, there was a data leak of his crypto account information, and maybe that's how they targeted him.
Okay. So, and they're in Washington County. Mm-hmm. And so is it a family or people who live in a home and they are just kind of minding their business and
so it was a father, son, and I imagine a wife, the mother of the child, but it's an adult child, by the way.
Okay.
Live in a home in Grant, the city of Grant, which is basically connected to Matamidi. And he was taking out the trash Friday morning, and he gets approached by two men who, in all dark clothing, at gunpoint, bring him into the garage at gunpoint, zip tie his hands, bring him inside. They wake up the mother and adult son and zip tie them, make them lie down on the floor. This goes on for 9 hours. During the 9 hours that they were being held down on the floor, the father of the home had to get into his crypto accounts, transfer money, a lot of it, and then it drove him 3 hours to get more because they wanted more money, and the father stored some in a crypto wallet at a cabin 3 hours away. So the difference between yesterday's story, which is crazy, and today's story is now they're charged federally, and there's a big discrepancy. Yesterday, the state was reporting $72,000. And a lot of us were saying, would you really go 18 hours with this risky, complex robbery for $72,000? Well, the feds announced today it's $8 million. $8 million in this crypto heist. So It's crazy, especially for people who don't really understand crypto. I'm one of them. I don't fully understand how this happens. And my big question is, are they able to get it back? It's not tangible. So is it like somewhere in Nigeria or Congo or something? Or where is it? And will they be able to get it back? And the interesting part is that one of the defendants, these Garcia brothers, one of them was on the phone with a third party while they're trying to do the transfer, and that third party was kind of walking him through the steps on how to make sure this was happening, the process to actually get it transferred to some unnamed crypto wallet.
Exactly. So imagine that. Just imagine that. Your family is zip-tied for 9 hours straight because you did what you thought was best, which was invest into digital assets and crypto and Bitcoin and diamond hands and everything else. And now you have to sit there and watch that. And then you just lost $8 million. I don't know if that's your total net worth or what it is, but I can say that's a pretty big dent for anybody. And then as I'm thinking about this, you go through it, and that guy had to drive 3 hours to get his second wallet. So there's two things to break that down. First of all, how do they know that he had a second wallet? I'm sure you can survive a pretty good amount as far as torture and things like that. But for him to crack, I wonder if that's what it was, or if it was because these data leaks that these centralized exchanges, which are responsible for, and they say, okay, the people behind it say, there's these many wallets, we've located to this guy, he is in this address, and don't let him BS you and tell you that he sold it, because those funds haven't moved in those wallets. That's the beauty of on-chain analysis. We know exactly what's going on. So if that is the case, which I think it really is, it doesn't matter if you take your crypto and put it in some type of computer 3 hours away, 5 hours away, 10 hours away, 24 hours away. It doesn't matter. These guys are like, you know what? That's a couple more million. Guess what? Road trip. And then off you go. And then lastly, this whole thing about a mastermind. There is somebody behind it. And it's not just me guessing. This is the same story that we heard in Las Vegas. This was a story around November. And a gentleman by the name of Miller was at a small crypto convention in Las Vegas. He told police he went to his apartment or his Airbnb or whatever it was. He was approached by 3 people with guns and wearing ski masks, later identified as the suspects. Miller said the suspects were communicating with someone over the phone who guided them through the kidnapping. He said the suspects demanded his Trezor wallet, which is a physical device. So whoever is behind this, they're very smart. They're smart enough to go, okay, great. We have all this information on the dark web. We know where to get it. Thank you, centralized exchanges. We're going to hire the muscle. And if they get caught, who cares? And of course, once this is all complete, they're going to transfer that crypto to our wallet, which we'll put it through a bunch of different devices, and we'll be able to hide our transactions. And those muscle, those are the ones that are going to be set up as the patsies, and they're going to go to jail. And they're not going to be able to get this crypto back. And that's exactly what is happening here. It's going to keep happening. So what do you do? What do you do in this situation? Because are you going to be packing your AR-15 or your 9mm every time that you go out to take the trash out in the morning? No, you're not going to do that. There's going to be one time when you don't pack or have your gun, and that's when they get you. It's the same thing that's happened before. So this is actually why these guys got apprehended. It was a Wendy's receipt. And if it wasn't for a Wendy's receipt, these guys would have gotten off scot-free. So they took a look at the cameras. They found that these guys left behind some kind of baggage or something at one of the hotels that they were at. And they found this Wendy's receipt, which had the address, the date, and the location. And then they went to those, got that information, and they found they looked at the video and found these people's license plates, and then arrested these guys. So, these guys are going to jail, and the masterminds are outspending all that crypto. And that's pretty much it. So again, what do you do? It's very simple. This is what I do. I diversify my portfolio storage, and I have it in maybe 1 to 20 different ledgers. I have it in 1 to 18 different TANGEMs. And I also have it in iTRUST, which is my Roth IRA plus the custodial services. Why did I pick them? It's because they have the same custodial services that Michael Saylor at MicroStrategy and Larry Fink and BlackRock, which they use Coinbase Prime. So I get custodial services for essentially free. It is free to send it in. I don't have to liquidate it. I don't have to put it into cash and send it over. It's just in kind. So I can send my Bitcoin, which I did, and I send a bunch of it over there, and they're going to custody for it. Now, it's not totally free, obviously. When I sell, that'll be put into cash. And people would say, well, why are you doing cash? Because I want my Bitcoin back. You don't understand. That's a loophole. That's actually something that's really good for us as opposed to the robbers. Here's why. If the robbers or the kidnappers or the wrench attackers, they say, okay, you got an iTRUST and they're custodying it, just send it to our crypto wallet. It's the same thing. But if you got to send your cash, first of all, you have to liquidate it. Second of all, they have to send it to the bank account that is on profile, and then you have to get it out of your bank. So I will just say this, good luck getting it out of my bank. My bank sucks. And sometimes the bug is the feature. They suck so bad, it's going to be great. Sending over 10K, they're not going to release it. They're going to have me come in or something. And if these guys try to do it, again, good luck. So it's a 1% sell fee, cash only, not an easy withdraw. And that's what I want to see. And that's where I want to go. And then lastly, I will say if you're want another option, there's always the Bitcoin ETF route. It seems like that's picking up steam. And I know people will say, well, that's not your keys, not your crypto. Yeah, maybe. But guess what's not good for you? A big wrench attack. That's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. Everything we talk about is time sensitive. That is it for this one. Thanks so much for stopping by. Good luck to you, and I'll see you on the next one.